Okay, here's the project that we're going to use. Let's acknowledge the 3D model for this project before we start our elevation. So I would mark you the entire floor plan and then right click. Let's say show mark you in 3D. So this is basically what you are going to do. I don't think all the layers are active. As you can see, there are a couple of layers that are missing. For me to bring all the layers or all the elements in this 3D, let me control A to bring the layer settings. And then what I will do, I will just I've created a layer combination that will keep all the layers active or on in 3D. So which is this layer combination for all. As you can see, all the layers under this layer combinations are active. So I would hit OK to update my model. So this is basically the project. If you remember this project very well, this is the project that I used to create floor plan graphics in the previous video. So if you want to check that video, check the link in the right corner. I also put the link in the description so that you can go and watch that video. So what we need to do is to choose the elevation that we're going to work on. And I think it's going to be typical once you've set one graphic style for your elevation, you can reuse it or apply across all the elevations. So what I want to do here is to go back to the ground floor, and then let's select the elevation that I'm going to do, which is this elevation marker. You could also check the elevation from the project navigator under project map, both even under project or view map, sorry. So if you go down here, we have elevation. To see a reference elevation in a floor plan, you would see with this ID. So in this case, we have one, which is this one elevation. So I can reference them just like that. So what I'll do, I'll just select here the source marker and then right click to open it, or I just double click here on the view map. So once the elevation loads, what we need to do now is to set. Currently this is the style that it comes with this elevation. As you could see, it looks decent. I don't want to lie to you, but what if you want to set a different style? So that's basically what I wanted to understand or learn in this video. So let's say the first thing to do to set an elevation graphics is the background. Background are very important for just putting your drawing into context. You could use a solid or a gradient background depending on what kind of style you want to portray. So also what I did here is just use the image that I downloaded from one of the sites that gives free images, stock images, and then I toned down the intensity of this image using Photoshop, so that it won't compete with the drawing itself. So it's important to do that, because once this graphic or the image compete with the drawing, it's going to be a lot of drama into your drawing. So another thing that is important is to have I've used this fill to cover the elements that are necessary for this elevation. Let me just delete and see. We have foundations and all the likes in this project. So let's just show in 3D so that you can see the other material. I'll hide this layer so that you could see the foundation of this project. Okay, so this is the information that I don't want to show in my elevation. So let's go back. ArchiCAD recent versions, they provided this useful tabs on top of the thing. Once you've opened one of the view here, it will be listed on top here so that you can just use it to go back to whatever view that you want. So I've used let me just say undo to bring back the fill. Wow, the fill went for good. So I cannot undo for the fill. Right, so I can get it from the other elevation. But just to create a fill, I just went down here under documents. I think it's important for me to demonstrate this. And then under documents, there is a fill tool. And then what I did, I set the fill type to be a drafting fill, so that it's just only for drafting. And then I changed the fill type into it just picked something like a brick. Yes, a brick. and then I just drew it based from here by drawing a rectangle using the rectangle geometry method, and then I just place it there. I can place it there. Perfect. That's basically what you want. So it comes with this area that I don't want to show. I can select the fill, open its settings, and then let's get rid of the show area text. So I don't want to show the area for this fill. All right, as you can see, but you could see we have these lines, but we still have the material or elements underneath displaying. So to prevent this, you could come here on the info box. Let's just roll the wheel or scroll the wheel along the info box information, and then find this fill pen background. And then what we're going to do is, instead of making it transparent like this, let's make it with a screen background so that it doesn't show the elements that are underneath. And then I can select this edge and use offset edge. Let's offset the edge to cover the entire elements like that. Okay, so if you want to change the color or the pens for the hedge, you could go back here, and then under the fill pen foreground, you change it to whatever pen color you want. In this case, I'll use color 1, which is 0.13 millimeters, like that. And then if you feel the hedge scale is too small as it is now, I believe it's too small, what you can do is to scale it up by opening its settings, and then under construction method here, there's this tools that you can use. I can say I want this custom distortion, and then hit OK. Once I have the custom distortion active, you would see this kind of controller. I don't know if can I say controller or what. These are the controls that I will use it to scale my fill up. So I would pick the point for this point, and then make sure you are under move the fill handle. Then I can just increase the length of this, and then do the same. I will try to make sure it's relatively equal. So you would see this guideline of a circle that will guide you the distance. If you want to make the distance equal, that means it has to touch both the circumference of the circle, like that. If you still feel it's too big, like I see for this one, let's just bring it back maybe a bit somewhere here, and then I can also do the same to this direction, and I'll make sure they are equal so that it can be something like this. Right, I think, let me just bring them a bit, something like that. Yeah, okay. I can still go ahead and change the pen to something grayish, because it's compete with the drawing. So I made it gray like this. It looks fantastic. All right, so now let's move on into some graphic style that I wanted to demonstrate. So in this case, there's a certain style that I want to achieve with this elevation. So what I want to do, I'll demonstrate two methods on how to achieve that. So the first method is going item by item and change or define the pen styles or the graphic style for that particular elements that you want to define. In this case, because it's an elevation, obviously you would have relatively items that are related in terms of the way they communicate. You would want them to be in the same pen. For example, let's start with the annotation labels. So I'll pick the parameter of this, so that to activate the tool, or just come here under documents and then activate the label tool. Once we have your label tool active in your keyboard, hit Ctrl A to select all the labels in your elevation. As you can see, they are all selected. Once you have them selected, you can come here under under settings of the label, and then what I want is to start with the text pen. I'm gonna set the text pen to color 20, which is a red color, and then I'll go down here under pointer. Let's do the same. Under pointer, we don't have the pointer active, so I'll go down here under what else can we change as well? I think it's just the text. Let's see pointer, text label, properties. Okay, if I hit OK, it will change the text style or the text color. or pen, but it didn't change the label. Because why? There are certain labels that doesn't have the what you call the pointer, so, or the leader. If you are coming from AutoCAD, you call them leaders, but here we call them pointers. So if you look at the label for doors and windows, they don't have the pointer. It's just a label. But to select them all once, it won't display the parameters to set the pointer pens. So what I'll do, I'll just select all the labels that has the pointer separately, and then if you open the settings, now you would have the pointer parameters active, as you can see. So what I need to do is to change the color for this arrow pen to 20. Same applies to this one. Let's just make it 20 and then hit OK. Now you'd see everything looks red. That's what I wanted to achieve. And then I would also want all the text to be in the same color. I'll pick parameter of this text, or just come here and then activate the text tool in the tool palettes under documents, and then hit Ctrl A to select all text. I can scroll in the info box, the wheel of your mouse, and then find the text pen. Let's set it to color 20 as well, so that you can have consistency in terms of our text pen. And then we have the elevation dimensions, or the level dimensions. We're going to select, I'm going to pick parameter of this by Alt in your keyboard and hold, and then click on the item, so it will activate the dimension tool in your toolbox like the other ones, and then hit Ctrl A to select all the dimensions. Let's open its settings to define their pen's parameter. So I'm going to start with this marker pen to be red as well, and then which one is this for? This one is for the line pen. I'm going to use red pen as well. Let's move down. Oh yeah, the text pen should be red as well. If we move down here under dimension details, let's see what's in here. There's nothing really to define in terms of the pen. So I will hit OK to apply the changes to my dimension or level dimensions. So it's pretty easy to do this exercise. And then once I've done with that, I can also set the same to the grids, just like that, and so on. But you could see you would take more time to set up all these things. And imagine now you have to do all this thing into all the elevation or across all the elevation. So in ArchiCAD or in any better workflow, you'd want to be efficient, set things once, or create workflows once and then repeat it for across future project, or in repeating tasks. You have to save this as a preset and then apply it in different ways. So what I mean about that, so it's a better alternative to do this. So I'm going to select all this, and then let's make it, let's bring it back the way it was. I think this was something like this, something like let's say that, and then I'll select these ones separately like I did before, open its settings, and then let's change this to whatever different, yeah, we could use different pens. Let's just, for the sake of this demonstration here, then this text I can use something different as well. Okay, the second method is or the second approach is the approach that is efficient, and you can create one and then you reuse it for your future project, or you reuse it across all your elevations. That's the importance of having that kind of workflow. So we're using graphic override combinations for this. If you come here, down here, there's graphic override combinations. Let's open the window. Once you have this window, you can now come here and set a new graphic override combination. So let's do that. I'll click on new, and then I'll call it this elevation graphics. Oh, sorry, elevation graphics, and then I'll hit OK. You could have an option to duplicate existing graphic override combination here, but for this case, because I want to demonstrate this from scratch and make sure everyone understand the concept behind this command. I'll hit OK, and then once you've created the combination, you need to create rules. That's where this part it is for. We're going to create rules. These rules will define how we want to project our graphics within our elevation. So if you look at our elevation, we have different types of elements that are visible on this elevation. So we've got walls, beams, columns, windows, doors, etc. So these are the things that we need to understand first. So in order for you to create this system, you need to group elements in a category so that you can make a rule that you override their pen styles. What I mean about that, so let's say come here under manage rules, and then what we need to do is I'm going to, but before we do that, let me just hit this and then hit OK. Let's group elements before we can create rules. I think all the structural elements like beams, walls, columns, they're going to be in the same rule. So things like annotations, I'm going to create 3 types of categories here that will determine my ruling. I'm going to have the thick lines. Thick lines are going to be all the structural elements, and then I'm going to have secondary line, secondary pens or secondary rule that is going to be for all the windows, things that are, I don't want them to be in thick line. Your windows, your doors, your staircases, your curtain wall, everything. And then I'll have the last one, which is basically just for annotations. So I'm gonna just have 3 rules. So let's see how we can create that. I'll come back here under graphic override combinations, and then let's create a new rule or manage rules. All right, so you find here the list of existing rules created in this template before. So what you need to do is to go down here and then hit on a new rule. All right, so we're gonna start with the rule for, I would say, elevation. Oh, sorry about that. Elevation thick. All right, and then hit OK. And then once I've created a rule, I need to define the criteria of all of that element that I want to affect. So I'm going to start or just add more criteria here, which is about element type. So let's add, and then say under main, I'm going to add just a couple of element types. Yes, and then I'm going to set the first one for walls, second one for columns, beams. I would skip slab because I don't want to see, normally we don't, but we can just put it here. I don't think it's the problem. So the roof, I'm going to put it in a let's just keep it here as well. I'll add another, but I think wall, columns and beams, these are the primary elements that are visible in structural elements that normally are visible in elevation. So let's just remove these ones. Let's just remove even the shell. Okay, just to remain with this 4. I'm not sure about the slab, but for now let's just leave it there. And then we come here under override styles. So what I need to override here is the color or the pen of these elements. So I'm going to activate or check the box for the line marker and text pen. Let's set this to a pen that is much thicker, which is 0.35, which is color 21 in the color table. All right, so once you're done with this, you would hit OK. Right, so let's see how you bring the rule under this window for rules. You come here and then add, and then you'd find by default ArchiCAD would highlight the newly created rule. So select it and then come here and add it there. So if I hit OK, it will apply all the changes to the elements that I've selected there, as you can see. Okay, so because this was made of a slab, that's why it's too thick like this. So I'm going to take out or remove the slab under this rule. So let's go back, and then I'm going to edit this rule. Let's say we're removing a slab, and then we hit OK, boom. Now you see the pens for these elements or changes to that. Okay, so let's move on and define another rule for secondary elements like windows, doors, furniture, and I would say roof finish, which basically this is made of object from the accessories, ArchiCAD goodies. And then yeah, that's, yes, I think all these are going to be on secondary. So let's go back and then let's manage rules. Let's come here down there and set new rule for, I would say, elevation secondary. You could call it whatever the name. It's just for me to differentiate this element. So then I hit OK, and let's set or create more criteria here. And then I would say, let's define this as I want the curtain wall to be part of this, staircase to be part of that, doors and windows and skylights. Let's increase the number of elements here. I'm gonna go for openings and objects. What else again can we add? Let me see. Yeah, I think shell can be part of this. Shell and morph or railings should be part of that. Let's say increase the number of the elements here. I'm gonna put railings, staircase. What else again? Yeah, I think for now they are fine. And then I'll come here under the override style. What I want to do here is to activate or check the box for the pen and then set it to, let's go for gray pen, just the light, this one. I think this, it's fine, which is it's 0.18 millimeters, which is color 81 in the color table. Okay, and then from here let's hit OK. Let's bring in the rule here under the rules. I'll hit add existing, then ArchiCAD will highlight the newly created. So let's just select that and edit. Okay, so I would like to drag it to the top. You know what I like here? I like to set the hierarchy to as how the pens or how the line weights are. So in terms of, so the thicker line weight is going to be at the bottom, and then as you go up, it means the tones changes. So the last one from the top is going to be the lightest pen or line weight you could think of. So if you hit OK, the changes will be applied. So you can now see the depth in our drawing. We have elevations, windows or all openings in lighter or secondary rule that we created. Even in objects like that, the finish for the roof, we could even change it to a light. I think we could even change it to maybe 0.15 instead of 0.18. Let's do that. I'm gonna go back. Let's open it. Graphic override combination window, and then let's edit this rule. We want to change this to something 13. I think 0.13 is fine. Which one is 0.13? Yeah, let's go for 0.13 and then hit OK. If you hit OK, I think it's a little bit better. Yes, I think it's much better. What do you think? Okay, I think it's much better. I think I can even include this feature for the slabs. Let's go back and then edit this rule. Let's add another element here. So I'm going to select a slab, hit OK, apply. So now you have your slab. It doesn't look alright, doesn't look great. So let's just go back and remove our slab. Let's scroll down, remove, hit OK. Alright, so now we have the annotations, which is basically the grids, the lines, labels, all sorts of things, dimensions. So let's go back and do that. Open the graphic override combinations window. Let's manage our rules to create a new rule. This will call it elevation annotations. All right, and then hit OK. From here we're gonna add the elements. Let's just list them here, and then start with the top, the first one. We're gonna go for the fill. No, the fill I'm not going to add it here. Let's start with the dimensions and text, label, the change tool, lines. Let's go on. I think there's an arrow here. Let's click on more, and then I want to affect the grids. Let's say more again. Polyline is part of it. Yeah, I think majority of them they're affected. And then let's say hit OK. Oh, sorry about that. Let's go back under manage rules, under elevation annotations. Let's select that, and then under override style, make sure we override the pen to color red. All right, then hit OK. Let's come here and add that rule to the list of rules, and then make sure you use these arrows to drag it above all the rules, and then hit OK. So you could see now my elevations annotations are on a red color. So this is basically how you can define this, and then from here you can, let's go back, you can export this and reuse it to a different project. Or for example, if I come to this elevation, let's open a different elevation here. Already it's been applied, you see. So you could see it looks very great. It looks great. I'm impressed with the result of this graphic override combination. So that was it. And if you have any comments, questions about this, if there is any steps that I skipped, let me know in the comment section. I'll be waiting for every comment to respond, ladies and gentlemen. But then I've created a full set of this, or a pack of this elevations pack, which is this basically. Let's just start with this one. You could toggle between these settings. You see, I have this gray style, and then I have a blueprint. If you remember the ones that I created for the floor plan, I also repeated the same styles to your elevations, just to maintain style or to be consistent across all your drawings. So it's important to have this. By the way, you cannot use these rules in a floor plan or in a different view, because the projections of a floor plan and elevations or section are completely different. In elevation, you cut elements horizontally and then you view it from the top. They are different. So I think it's better to understand that, and then you can create a separate elevation graphic override style, but consistent, but the same style. But now the difference will be the rules. So just go check the link on the description to download this pack. It has, I think, 6 styles. Thank you once again. If you managed to make it to the end of this video, I think let's meet again in the next video. Bye bye. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and like and share this video with those who think they'll benefit from it. Okay, bye bye. Cheers.